test in year 10 and they said that I would be a good pilot or a good architect.
I taught Rebecca, it must be 10, 12 years ago.
In my first year, I was a terrible student.
I remember that she couldn't make it to an exam.
I was 17, first time living away from home.
I got this frantic call saying someone has broken into my house and stolen all our guitars.
Is that true?
It is true.
I know Beck through uni. She taught me Prof Prac when I was doing my Masters.
Edwina was one of my students at Monash.
So I walked into Prof Prac thinking I was going to have a snooze for the next 3 months and instead was laughing and smiling the whole time.
I just love sharing a story, really. I'm more than happy to be transparent with my students and to discuss the ups and downs and actually be really very, very honest about what it's like to run a practice. I think because architecture is so consuming, there is no clear, this is home life now and this is work life now, that you need to know how to balance them together and intertwine them.
Beck has kind of always had this really wide perspective about what it is to practice and what it is to live and how they both need to be happy and working together well.
What I didn't realise when I was in my early employment at Naughtin, Bruce was actually teaching me a way of life.
You need to have a direction, you need to know where you're going, not just let fate take control.
Bruce and I have discussed the concept of wealth in some depth.
I really don't see wealth as needing to own a yacht and a plane and have the most toys before you die. Wealth is really sort of helping you to achieve a good life, and people have different definitions of what a good life is. Mine is really just to help to make a difference to a few people.
Bruce taught me not to be scared about having my own practice.
Nothing gives me more pleasure than seeing people really kick on after working here. This has been a springboard for a lot of very successful careers, and I get quite a kick out of that.
I don't think that I realised that Bruce was my mentor until I left Naughtin and started Rebecca Naughtin Architect. It was a similar way that Bruce became my mentor that Edwina became my mentee.
Without Beck, I think I'd have a very narrow view of the profession or what's available to me and would have followed a much more traditional path.
It's a symbiotic relationship.
I moved jobs about 9 months ago and we discussed that at length.
I can count on her, she could also count on me for advice with our careers, but every now and then it's also, a bit of life.
It's a two-way process. It's not, the older person mentoring the younger person. That can work in both directions.
I think sometimes in naivety you make bolder choices, or you kind of can call people out on things or encourage them to do things that they would not consider doing through the burden of experience.
Every time you think you just about know everything, something else comes up. Now I've been involved in architecture practices for over 50 years and I'm still coming across incidents that I couldn't have dreamt would ever happen.
It's often said that architects really don't become good at what they do until they're much older. So I'm in no rush. I'm here learning still. I'm learning how to do it so that I can get it right.
Proudly supporting the architectural profession.